In this first module, I'm going to familiarize you with the information contained in your typical annual filing. This is an example of a public filing. Private companies don't typically have quite as much disclosure stuffed into their annual reports. But the financial statements will look very similar if they're prepared under what they call Generally Accepted Accounting Principles, or GAAP for short. So to begin with, let's just pick a company. I'm going to pick the Home Depot for no particular reason other than it's a company that hopefully everyone has some familiarity with. So as a first step, let's go to the SEC website and track down the 10K. The SEC's website is sec.gov. And here we are on the SEC website. If you want to find where publicly listed financial statements are, they'd be located under EDGAR. And to search for company filings, we click here. It brings up this screen. And we want to find the filings for the Home Depot. Ta-da! We see all the filings that the Home Depot has made. Whoa, there's a lot of stuff here. As you can see. The 10K is what we are looking for. 10Qs are their quarterly filings. The 8Ks are your news releases. All the other filings are fairly self-explanatory and serve purposes beyond what we are interested in learning during this course. To narrow our focus, we can type in 10K in this search box. And we can see their annual filings are summarized here. Now this is their last filing, which is for the year ended January 30th, 2011. Now I know that Home Depot has already released their January 2012 results, but here it is a few weeks later and the 10K has yet to be posted on EDGAR. So for our purposes, we will go ahead and use the 2011 results for the purposes of this tutorial. To get the latest results, we would have to go to either the press release or the investor's website, or we could just as easily look at their last quarterly filings for the most up-to-date results. So the first item to note is that there's a time lag between when the company reports their earnings in a press release and when they file their statements with the regulator. In the United States, this can be several weeks. In Canada, this tends to be a day or two before they show up on SEDAR. We will click the 10K document to open it up. And let's start looking at the table of contents. In Canada, the information would be spread between the MD&A, the financial statements, and the Annual Information Form, or the AIF. But it's largely the same coverage as what you're finding in the 10K. First of all, under item 1, we have a description of the business. This is good if you're unfamiliar with the company and its activities. Under 1A, we identified the risk factors for this company. Now, as a CFO and director, I actually spend more time on this section than most analysts might. My concern is always that the risks inherent in the business have been adequately disclosed to the reader. And for the most part, these will read probably as generic boilerplate sort of risks. Stuff like customers, suppliers, competition, key employees, foreign exchange risks, and the like. So for you, you'll only really get concerned if you notice any that appear odd. So for instance, a risk with an unfavorable outcome to a particular lawsuit, or a particular patent challenge, or perhaps a political risk in a foreign country. Those would stand out as being incremental risks. Sections 2 and 3, properties in the legal proceedings, give you similar sorts of high-level warm fuzzies, or perhaps chilling shivers if you notice an area of concern. Between the description of the business and the risk factors, you should be able to get a feel for the risk profile of the company. Ask yourself if the company feels more or less risky, for example. Now, market leaders are less risky. Diversified companies are less risky. Diversified in the sense of geography, customers, suppliers, product lines. Large companies tend to be less risky than smaller companies, as they have greater opportunities to achieve economies of scale. This assessment simply gives you context as you review the rest of the results and make comparisons to peers. The level of risk has a direct but very difficult to quantify impact on what the cost of equity is for the company. Quite simply, this means the investment returns a shareholder expects. Again, this is a much more complicated subject that we'll cover in another course. Part 2 contains the financial information. Item 5 gives you details about the stock equity activities. Make note of the share buyback activity as this is generally a good thing, particularly if the stock seems undervalued. But be wary of companies that are, shall I say, expensive in undertaking share buybacks. Share buybacks indicate that the company has surplus free cash flow. We'll go into what this means later. Buybacks will boost earnings per share growth as less shares will be outstanding, which can sometimes mask the true underlying growth rate in the business. Items 6, 7, and 8 contain financial information we will review in detail in the next video. Item 9 is typically standard language, but if there is substantive content in this section, it's a major red flag. Part 3 contains information on the insiders of the corporation. And the biggest item that always makes me weary is when there's a substantial amount of transactions with related parties, which includes the executives or the directors of the company. Insider trading and executive compensation are typically covered off in other filings with the annual circular. A proxy circular is used in conjunction with the annual shareholders meetings and contains matters requiring shareholders' attention and/or approval. Part 4 has some supplementary data, and I like the supplementary 5-year summary data that Home Depot has provided to us. We will look at this in the next video as well. So there you have it, an overview of what is typically contained in a 10K. There was a time when companies used to publish nice, glossy annual reports with all sorts of supplementary analysis, pretty graphs, and commentary. Many companies now just take their 10Ks, which are printed on this horrible newsprint, wrap it inside a fancy cover with a letter from the president or the chairman of the board, and use that for their annual reports these days. Now, if the company is not publicly traded, you'll likely get a set of financial statements and maybe a memo or a presentation describing the business. You'll want to know similar sorts of information as what has been provided in the 10K. I'll stop here for now, but next time we're going to drill into the financial data. Until then, don't stop till you get to the top. When you get to the top, don't stop.